I'm Jennifer Della Quadri, and this is the Raising Happy Teens podcast, where you learn how to successfully guide your teenager into adulthood without losing your sanity in the process. Let's do this. Welcome back to the podcast. Something that's been coming up in a few of my coaching calls from moms in particular is that many are just feeling either a general sense of overwhelm or exhaustion with life or a disengagement with life. And many of my mom clients, they're really struggling to manage stress, manage all that comes with being a parent, being a mom, especially of a teenager. And it's really impacting their enjoyment of life. And I know this is something I've struggled with, both of these feelings, especially after my kids became adolescents. So, what the heck is going on? So, I did what I do and I dove in and I started to look for answers. And it was for myself, but it was also, of course, for my clients. And the term that came up over and over was mom burnout. I've done a podcast on parental burnout before, but in this episode, I'm going to expand a little bit on that and address specifically burnout when it comes to as it applies to moms. So I'll be talking in this episode about what mom burnout is, why it happens, symptoms to look out for, common maladaptive coping behaviors, and what you can do to help yourself if you find that you are experiencing burnout. So before I get into it, I had decided on doing this episode and I had created an outline and was ready to record it, and really get into it. And then I went to my therapy appointment, and throughout the conversation that I had with my therapist, we talked about a few things, and she told me that I was experiencing mom burnout. So first off, the irony. I'm like, oh, I'm going to help my clients with this, but it's not really I'm okay. Like, I'm okay. That's my MO. I'm okay. I can handle it. It's not a big deal. And so she said that to me and I was like, okay, yeah, you're right. But I was kind of surprised, and I was surprised when she said that because I thought I'm at a point in my life where my kids are independent. They're getting older. They're now 17 and 19. I feel like things are going pretty well for both of them. And they're both pretty stable and, doing the things. Our relationship is good. I feel like I am past that really stressful time of parenting them as teenagers. But what she pointed out to me is that I'm coming off a multi-year struggle with them through those teen years. And, think about if you went to college or even in high school, when you went through a period where you were really studying hard and the stress level was really high, you were getting ready for finals or something like that. And then the moment that all of the finals are done, you get sick. Vacation has started and you get sick. And that's kind of like what she explained is happening to me. The finals are over, at least I hope so. And I'm not sick, thankfully, but I'm experiencing some of those feelings that I didn't have the capacity to experience when the shit was really hitting the fan. So they were buried down in my subconscious. They were held in until my subconscious mind was like, okay, it's safe to feel these now. I know all of this in theory. I've studied psychology. I'm a coach. I know that this is how the subconscious mind works, the psyche works. But for some reason, it's just so hard for me to even apply it to myself. I can understand it in theory, but it's different when it's me. So I was going through all these things and I'm like, what is happening? My life is good. Like things are feeling stable, right? For the first time in a while. And of course, you're not immune to it when things are getting better. In fact, that may be when you start experiencing it. So if you are currently experiencing this or you have in the past, this episode is for you. And I'm going to be, like I said, diving into what it is and what to do about it. And let me just kick off by explaining what it is. So if you're hearing this, you're like, what is mom burnout? This is basically what it is. It's exhaustion, intense exhaustion, and just maybe a disengagement related to parenting, specifically parenting. Also, feeling as though you are just going through the motions, like I'm checking the boxes, I'm being responsible, and I'm doing all of the things, but I'm not really engaged with it all. Also, just a feeling that you're feeling inefficient. You're feeling useless in parenting specifically. Also, doubting whether you're good enough. And a big one is physical, mental, and emotional exhaustion. And possibly struggling with mental health challenges, which of course could increase family conflicts and also just decrease well being in all other areas of your life. And the reason why this happens so much to moms specifically is because oftentimes the caregiving demands land on the mom. And so moms are really hard on themselves when they don't feel engaged as a mother or they're struggling as a mother. And they're also carrying the load of, I need to have a job or I need to be this perfect Pinterest mom. That doesn't help when you have social media with all the perfect people out there, not exactly sharing the dark sides of their life. And it really can compound the experience, the negative experience, and the negative thoughts that come along with it. So, because as women, we're the typical quote unquote caregivers of the family, it's a lot to take on. And oftentimes it's just all too much. And it can happen to working moms, it can happen to stay at home moms, it can happen to a combination of both. There's really no demographic specifically for lifestyle, but it does more likely than not happen to women. So, some of the symptoms that come along with it are extreme mental fatigue, physical exhaustion. So, you may be feeling really tired, even though you got a ton of sleep. It's not for lack of sleep, it's just the emotional exhaustion really takes a toll on your mental well being and your physical body. Also, another symptom is being short tempered. I know in those stressful times in my life, I've said and done things that I regret saying that were not in alignment with my values and who I am as a person and regretted it. And you may be nodding your head, yes, I've done that too. Everybody's done that. But when you're already struggling so much, it doesn't take too much to push you over the edge and to say and do things that you regret. Also, feeling emotionally depleted, like there's no reserves there to give more love, to give emotionally more because there's just nothing left. It's drained. Also, feeling disconnected or isolated from others. So, whether you're feeling isolated from your family or you are just not socializing as much, or maybe you just don't have the interest in socializing, you don't have the energy to socialize, just basically feeling disconnected in general. And of course, on top of that comes some mom guilt about things you've done, the reactivity, or even just thoughts and feelings that you're having about not doing it all, not spending enough time with your kids, not making them cookies when they come home from school, not cooking dinner every night, not cleaning their room, getting them the perfect bed set, showing up at their show, like all of that mom guilt. A lot of that comes with burnout. And it'll also leads to feelings of inadequacy, also anxiety or overly focused and worrying about the future. That's a big symptom. Feeling mom rage. So that kind of goes with the short tempered, that like flame that comes up where you're just overly hostile about things that maybe wouldn't have bothered you in the past. So extreme highs, extreme lows. Also, potentially questioning life choices. Like, why did I have kids? Was this a big mistake? Also, another big one is just imagining escaping. Like, imagining living a different life, imagining just leaving it all, living somewhere completely different. That's all part of burnout. Also, never feeling good enough, worrying that your kids deserve better than you, of course, feeling disconnected from your partner, and social fatigue. So, if you're hearing this list and you are sensing and you're thinking some of these things apply to you, first off, know that it's okay. It's okay to feel these things. You're not alone. There's nothing wrong that you've done wrong. You don't deserve to feel this way. You're in this position. It's really hard. So if you are feeling guilty about not living up to the expectations, about not having the mental and emotional capacity to show up for your kids the way you really want to, I'm here to not judge you. I am here to support you through this and let you know that you're not the only one experiencing this. So, let me talk a little bit about some of the maladaptive coping behaviors that can really come along with this mom burnout. Things like over drinking. I know that's a really big one because obviously that drink or two can take the load off and then you feel kind of better and you feel like things are a little bit, lighter. It feels good. And then the next day you feel awful. And then you lean into the alcohol again, and it just becomes a cycle. It's a way of escaping, a way of self medicating. Same thing with overeating, binge eating, overeating unhealthy food, leaning on food for comfort. Same thing with shopping, overspending, buying things on Amazon that you never knew you wanted, going out and dropping hundreds of dollars on something that you never even planned to buy, but it gives you that hit of dopamine. Things like mindlessly scrolling or just zoning out to social media. And of course, withdrawing from family and friends, being invited to places and you don't want to go because you don't have the energy. You don't feel good. And it all kind of compounds with each other. And there are more, but those are the main ones that I definitely hear from my clients and that I'm aware of and that I've experienced myself. So if you find yourself leaning into these behaviors, again, there's absolutely no judgment. But what I want to ask yourself is this: is what I'm doing helping or harming me? I heard this question recently, and it was specifically applied to managing grief, but I feel like that could apply to any challenge that you're facing in life. So think of your behaviors, what you're doing and what you're thinking. All of that are those behaviors helping you or are they harming you? And just reflect upon that. Because you can feel bad and still do things that feel good to you in general or lead you in the direction of feeling better versus doing things that ultimately make you feel worse. Like scrolling social media. Sometimes it makes you feel better. Like you might find something that makes you laugh, but you can also go down the doom scroll of where the world's falling apart. Everybody's fighting. All is bad, 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 right? And that's not going to help your mental well-being. So just to be aware of it. And there are always ways to cope that are good for you, that feel productive and are helpful. And I'm going to share some of those things with you now. So if you're experiencing mom burnout, some things that can help is first just know and name what is happening. So when you recognize that what's going on is going on, it gives you the power to do something about it. So you're no longer a victim. Hey, you know what? I'm experiencing burnout right now. And I can decide right now what I want to do about it. Just knowing it, naming it. Another thing, of course, is to take care of your emotional needs. So strategies like journaling, practicing mindfulness, getting outside, finding something that you enjoy doing outside of parenting. And of course, taking care of your physical well-being, exercising, eating healthy foods, getting plenty of sleep. All of those things are definitely going to help with the symptoms of burnout. Another really good strategy is to, if you can, take breaks from parenting. Tap into your support system. Be honest about what's going on. I'm experiencing burnout right now. I could really use your support. So, whether it's a partner, if they're available for that, a family member, a friend, have them support you so that you can get away and take a little break and reconnect with you. Another really good strategy is to find a mom friend. So, having somebody who's also parenting, who's also a mom, and understands how you're feeling can really do wonders for just normalizing what's going on. It helps you feel less alone through it. Because when you're feeling this way, especially the guilt, there's a lot of shame with it. And a lot of people tend to withdraw when they're feeling guilty or shameful because they don't want anyone to know what's really going on inside. So, having a friend to talk to about it can really help. And I mentioned this before about sleep, but really prioritizing sleep. And it's really hard to do when you're chronically sleep deprived. A lot of the time, what really like when you don't feel like you're getting enough rest, something that can end up happening is bedtime procrastination. So, that time in the evening when you finally have a moment to yourself, everybody's asleep or everybody's busy, the jobs for the day are done, and you can actually sit and just do what you want to do. So you're going to put off going to sleep because this is the only time of the day I have to do this. But what you're actually doing is you're robbing yourself of the rest that you need to be able to have the energy to help yourself feel better. So really prioritize getting to sleep at a decent hour and getting a good quality night's sleep. Also, it's really important to learn how to set boundaries. It's important to learn how to say no. So just identify what's really important to you and just prioritize those things. And know that people may be disappointed, and it's okay for them to be disappointed because it's important for you to protect your energy. Also, same thing along with the lines of having a mom friend is to join a group that's not related to parenting. You can go on a Meetup. I did that recently. Went on to Meetup and I searched some things that I'm interested in that had nothing to do with parenting, where you can connect with people like that. You can join a fitness group. You can join a community center group. You could take a class. Anything that doesn't have anything to do with being a mom or being a parent. It's just you being you. And one of the best ways to manage this is to find someone to talk to who is not involved in your immediate experience. So you can have a place to just get things off of your chest and feel more proactive in your creating a plan to help yourself feel better and have that space for accountability and emotional support. And this is something I can help you with. So whether you're in the midst of mom burnout, you're wanting to avoid it, or you're just needing some support and guidance while you're raising your teenager, coaching can definitely help you. So click the link in the show notes to schedule a free consultation with me. And on this call, we'll talk about the current challenges you're facing. I'll explain to you how coaching works. And together, we'll decide if coaching is the next right step for you. I look forward to hearing from you. Thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you next time. If you liked this episode, I'd like to invite you to join Raising Happy Teens, my free online community for parents of teenagers, where every week I host Ask a Coach. You bring your parenting questions, and I provide expert advice and coaching. Click the link in the show notes to join today. I'll see you inside.